What is up, everybody? Ivlith coming to you with another video on Enshrouded. I just did my Enshrouded video on my reviewing gameplay. Again, if you haven't watched that video, go and check it out. But I did give the game a 7.8 out of 10. And one of the reasons is what we're going to discuss right now, and that is the skills tree. A lot to say about the skills tree. I want to cover most all of it today, but the biggest thing is I want to talk about different builds, different things you can do to make the game more enjoyable for you. One of the biggest things that I have found about Enshrouded is that if you don't go heavy into any one of the three major builds, albeit wizard, warrior, or ranger, which I consider the big three, it seems to me that later on in the game you're going to struggle. And one of the main reasons is if you look at the skill tree, and this is what I wanted to start off by getting into, is if you look at the skill tree, you see these perks right here: intelligence, dexterity, and then strength. Those three builds, or those three things, are all based off damage, are all damage amplifiers in the game. So strength amplifies your warrior build, dexterity amplifies your ranger build, and intelligence amplifies your magic build. So with that being said, if you look at the skill tree again, I want you to notice something. If you go to trickster, intelligence is here. If you go to healer, intelligence is here. If you go to battle mage, intelligence is here. If you go to strength, or if you go to tank, you've got some strength. If you go to one-handed warrior, you got some strength. If you go over to barbarian, you've got some strength. Even over here in athlete, you got some strength. So in this red mix-up, in this green mix-up, same with them, you got dexterity that'll be up here. You've got dexterity that'll be over here. You got dexterity down there. So why do I say that? The reason I say that is, if you look at the dexterity tree, you can see that it increases bow and dagger damage by 5%. So if you wanted to go daggers, which I believe is in this tree right here, in order for your daggers to be great, you're going to need all these different dexterity skills in order to, if you go straight into daggers straight up this tree and you want to do just some daggers on the side, you're going to be missing out. I think I calculated it correctly, almost 40 to 50% in extra damage. That's a lot late game, because you got to think about a mob having 1200 health, a weapon hitting for 100, and you're missing out on 50% damage. You stand in front of that mob for a while. The longer the fight, the better chance of you have of messing up, and you have a better chance of dying. So unless I go heavy into any of those trees, i.e. ranger, daggers doesn't make sense. If I go intelligence and I just try to pick up a few intelligence things, like in wizard I want to cast a healing ability without all that extra intelligence, it's not going to be optimal. So in order to build optimal builds in this game, you have to go heavy in some sort of any of those three trees, and if you don't, you're going to be missing out on damage. So what the game's really missing is, I'm not able to really, and I'm saying you can do it, but it's not ever going to be as good as the three mega builds. I can't jump into warrior a little bit and then go over here into green a little bit and then go over here into wizard a little bit, trying to pick up a little bit of everything and do as good as somebody that's pure strength or pure wizard or pure ranger, I'm just not going to do as well. Now, another thing about builds, almost any build that you play, and there's going to be somebody that argues you can play without it, and that's great. If you found a way to do it, awesome. If you don't have battle heal, when dealing critical damage with a melee weapon, you heal 5% of your maximum health, you're going to struggle. Most builds that I have seen, if you go ranger and you pick up daggers to be your melee weapon, like somebody closes in on you and you have daggers equipped, you're going to want battle heal because you're going to be swinging a lot. You're going to crit and it's going to passively heal you to keep you alive. If you go wizard, if something closes in on you, that dagger's being able to heal you, or that melee weapon you can pull out that's going to be able to heal you, is going to be nice. And obviously, if you're two-handed, I mean, this is a no-brainer. Anytime you use two-handed or one-handed, it's going to heal you. So most builds that I've found, what they do right off the bat, they get merciless attack and they go straight down and they grab battle heal. That's pretty much most starter builds. Why? You find you a melee weapon, you go through and you fight mobs, you can heal. Now, as you can see, my build here is full warrior. Now, I did go up in the tree. I'm trying to finish out my build, which will give me desert stomach, which is an additional food slot. I'm not going to get into food too much, but the more food slots you have, the more buffs you have. So you're going to need that. Another one that's awesome is jump attack. So you love double jump. You need it in this game. I know you can play it without it, but you need double jump and you need jump attack. I like that extra damage from jump attack. Again, jump attack is normally a crit. Heals me with battle heal. So you get a big group of mobs together. This is one of your best AoEs. You jump into a big group of mobs, you slam, you get that crit, heals you a bunch, and then you start swinging with the two-handed axe, and I mean, it's just fulfilling, right? I mean, I'm hitting on most crits now at this level between 600 and 2,000. 5% of that, I mean, with 700 health, I'm healing 200% of my life almost every swing, being a pure two-handed build. So take a look at my build, get you an idea of what two-handed is. Again, whatever weapon you find, melee or blunt or pierce, whatever weapon you have at the time, you can change this. I've noticed that most of mine are cut, so I went cutting side. A lot of people, and some weapons later on will have a little bit of both, so if you want a little bit of extra damage from your weapon, you can go pierce. If you find a blunt weapon, which is good against hollowed and shroud enemies, you can go brute. Shockwave and bash didn't make any sense to me, so I didn't pick them up, because most of the mobs with my two-handed, I 2 or 3 shot them anyway, so they don't really parry or have an opportunity for me to bash them too much. If you were maybe just wanting to play straight one-handed, some of these might be nice for the additional damage since you're blocking to get your parry up, and you might come in here and get that multiplying damage with your parry, so that merciless strike will be a lot stronger. Then that would be good if you were just pure one-handed. Now, I'm just trying to get you to understand the tree. I'm not talking about any specific one build. I just know in the game some of the things that I couldn't go without. I couldn't go without updraft. The additional flying is a necessity. The double jump and the jump attack was a necessity, and the battle heal was a necessity for me. Without those 3 things, I would be in a much worse situation in the game. Another thing that people do heavy is they go into healing. So this water aura here, you emit a healing aura. It heals all injured allies within 15 meters. The healing scales with your intelligence. So as you get more intelligence in the different tree over here on the wizard side, that healing increases by a lot. So I mean, you can get yourself up to almost healing almost 40 1 health every 2 points of intelligence. I don't know exactly how fast it emits. I think it emits every couple of seconds, so you could technically be healing yourself a lot, really quick. But again, I mean, read the thing. It's telling you it scales with your intelligence. So if you're just somebody that's coming down and trying to pick this up, if you don't have a lot of points in intelligence, I mean, you're healing yourself very slightly. If you're in battle, I mean, it helps to refresh after each battle. But if you're in battle, this isn't healing you insanely unless you go full intelligence. One that will, though, is the battle heal. Anybody can grab a sword, swing at some enemies, do some crits, and heal themselves up. Same with Ranger. I mean, if you don't have multi-shot trigger, if you don't have multi-shot, if you don't have the dexterity from Ranger, if you don't have all these different dexterity points, I mean, your bow is just going to be hitting so light that you can't do anything. So what I'm trying to tell you is you need to choose a build and you need to optimize that build. Like, I mean, there's niche things in here. Like, you know, if you wanted to be a warrior that has like, I guess almost like these sun and radiant orders and do fire damage to enemies around you, I mean, that helps and that's cool. But without full intelligence, again, it banks off of your intelligence. It's just not going to do very much damage. So I guess the biggest thing I can tell you about Enshrouded is find you something that you want to play and build into that. Don't try to, and this is my opinion, don't try to get a little bit here, a little bit there, a little bit here. It's not going to work for you. If you want to play a wizard, go down through here, figure out which build works for you, two-handed or one-handed, because there are wands, and pick up a bunch of wizard stuff. And then on the side, maybe pick up battle heal, so if something closes in on you, you can swap over to your sword and do some melee to finish off the mob. If you want to go ranger, go full ranger, grab you battle heal and your jump attack, get your daggers, which are here, and then when something closes in on you, swap to your daggers, burn them down, and heal yourself back up if they close quarters on you. And then if you're melee, I mean, just put a bunch of points in melee tree and swing whatever weapon you find. I mean, it's going to probably work for you. One other thing, if you're playing the game and you want to farm, remember your spec, right? Screenshot it, whatever you want to do. Remember your spec, go and respec, cost a couple of runes, and pick up some of these tools and lumberjack and all this stuff that gives you 30% extra, and go mine and do all that stuff, because I'm telling you that 30% extra overtime in this game will help you immensely. So respec, go out there and farm, respec when you come back. You're going to have plenty of runes. It'll be easier for you to do, for you to respec and be able to get your farming done. So, suggestion again, build heavy into a tree. Trying to get a little bit of everything is going to hinder your gameplay. If you are full melee, like my tree right here, you definitely need this grapple hook. If you don't have grapple hook and you're full melee, you're going to have trouble with the flying creatures later on. Most of them I can grab, I pull them down, I swing my axe twice, they die. They don't have as much health as a melee mob. I'm able to kill them relatively easily. If you are only going one-handed, I would suggest maybe picking up just a little bit of some of the range skills so that you'll be able to kill those mobs. If you pull them down with your grappling hook as a one-hander, you're going to get a few hits on them, and then they're going to fly back above you, and then you're going to have to pull them down again. They're going to get a few hits on you. They're going to fly up again. If you're not heavy two-hander, grappling hook's going to be a problem for you because it's going to burn your stamina, especially if you're in a heavy area with a lot of flying mobs. If you get up into the northern part of the frost area or the winter area, there's going to be mobs flying around everywhere, and they're going to give you trouble. So you're going to have to figure out a way to shoot those down. I've noticed that most people just carry a bow. The bow does about enough damage that if you avoid most of the flying things attacks, you can shoot the mob down. You don't have to go heavy into the bow for the bow to be good. However, it always helps to have more points into it. So look at the board, read the board, figure out what you want to play is the best suggestion. You can look up a build. There are a few online. I'm just saying, for me, going heavy into whatever category was what worked best for me. Going full melee worked better for me than being a little bit warrior and a little bit mage. Because I did have a warrior healing build. I healed okay. My warrior damage was good. I just didn't feel like I was killing mobs fast enough for the healing to make sense. Hopefully that is worded correctly. I got better healing, dropping the healing, having a two-handed weapon, and two-handing mobs down because my hits were better and I got more from battle heal than I ever did with just a little bit of intelligence aura. So take that how you want it. It worked best for me. I've noticed people that go heavy in a certain tree without battle heal and having a way to switch over to melee when mobs come up to you, they have trouble taking their hits. Like if you're standing there with a bow and a mob closes in on you like the elites later game, if you can't switch over to daggers or switch over to a melee weapon and finish that mob off while you're healing, I mean, it's just going to kill you. And if you try to backtrack, I mean, 7 times out of 10 that works, but there are times where you get stuck on something, you get pinned. Those mobs are going to follow you their pathing area as far as they can, so they're going to get on you and they're going to kill you. So just keep that in mind whenever you're doing this. I would suggest every build you do to pick up battle heal and jump attack, double jump, and then updraft so that you can fly. You can jump on big mobs of enemies and do damage, and you can melee if you want to whenever something gets close, sword and shield. And then dump everything else into the spec you want to be. So if you want to be primarily ranger, dump everything into ranger. Hopefully this made sense for you. Hopefully it helps you out. If it did, like and subscribe. Go back and watch my Enshrouded review and gameplay video for more information. But that is all for this one. Next video that I'm going to be releasing, I'm going to talk about another video game called Asuka. That'll probably be later this week. I'm going to try to do 2 or 3 videos a week, and we're going to review some games. I'm going to give you my honest opinion. If something needs to be delved into in the game, I'll delve into it. But that's all for this one. Thank you for watching.